一人、お前だけが俺に夢を忘れさせた。捧げる。
Alright, but today is the 6th of June, being a Saturday, and this video is simply just going to be doing a trade analysis for the trade I took on the 5th of June, which was yesterday being a Friday on EURUSD. So taking a look at the trade being right here, took a short position during the pre-New York AM session and was simply looking to see that sell-side deliverance occur to engage with all of this sell-side liquidity. So in relation to the economic calendar for Friday's trading, it would have been NFP news. So we had NFP at 8:30, and since this trade was taken pre-New York AM, it was also held through the high impact news being NFP. So we see this very large displacement candle down towards sell side. This would have been NFP inviting for that sell side delivery motion to continue it on for the rest of the day in relation to EU. But jumping in and taking a look at the components within the trade. So taken during the pre-New York AM session, daily order block was utilized as the higher time frame PD array as well as an hour for SIBI. And then there was an M15 London standard deviation projecting for buy side. And this was used in order to locate that point of inception at buy side for that sell side delivery motion. And we were also framing a 6 a.m. power of 3. And then M15 change in stain delivery was the entry mechanic. And then there was an M15 standard deviation projecting for sell side and simply targeting TLP, as well as the fact that the previous week low was the draw on liquidity. So jumping in and taking a look at the actual analysis. So simply just going to be paying attention to what has been mentioned here. So looking at the daily first, the daily order block that was utilized being these series of up close candles. So if we're just paying attention to these two up close candles, we take a notice of the fact that, okay, they deliver up into this imbalance right here, and then we have a closure below them. Series of up close candles, series of down close candles. Right here, indecisive candle, as we know, we're not counting indecisive candles within the sequence of our formation of an order block. We end up seeing the previous day's trading, utilizing this daily order block efficiently. We don't see any closure inside of it. Same goes for Friday's trading. We open, deliver up into the daily order block, forming the high of the day being our point of inception for that sell side delivery motion. And then dropping down and taking a look at the hour 4, we have that daily order block projected out in time. We see 1800 opens, we deliver up into that daily order block, and then we also engage with this hour 4 SIBI that resides right here. While engaging with the hour 4 SIBI, we can take notice of the fact that a cracking correlation presents itself here. So DXY engages with its respective previous day low. EURUSD fails to follow suit by engaging with the previous day high. DXY and EURUSD are inversely correlated assets. So when these markets are moving in sync and in tandem with each other, DXY should be delivering towards buy side, while EURUSD should be delivering down towards sell side. So we have that cracking correlation with the previous day high on EU, engaging with that hour 4 SIBI, and we have the 6 a.m. opening right here. So we're framing a hour 4 power of 3 being this 6 a.m. candle right here. So 6 a.m. we open, form a high, and we have that very aggressive deliverance down towards sell side. And then dropping down and taking a look at the M15, a whole lot more descriptive in relation to what price action is doing. So we have the 1800 opening right here, and we see automatically 1800 opens, price is just doing nothing. This is essentially just consolidation and the engineering of orders. The orders being engineered here would be sell side. So we can see sell side engineered, sell side engineered, sell side engineered. And the thing about the engineering of this sell side is that it is time-based liquidity that is being engineered, being that Asia low as well as that London low. And then we can also see that for one, London's low being relatively equal lows, as well as the fact that it aligns very nicely with that 1800 opening. 1800 did not form a sufficient low in relation to the daily power of 3. So I'm not even sure if I mentioned it, but we're also framing a daily power of 3 as well. But with the execution, we were fractalizing it and we're framing a AM power of 3. But a daily power of 3 was the overall perspective of what we're framing. But we have Asia consolidation, we roll out up into London. London opens, and what London offers us is a leg that we can use to anchor a standard deviation, projecting for that delivery up towards the buy side. So from this candle's low all the way up to this candle's high, we have that -2, -2.5, -3.5, -4, -4.5. And we end up seeing the -3.5 being utilized as a point of terminus, which then turns into inception. Now, I've mentioned it multiple times, but the -3.5 can also serve as a point of terminus. -4, -4.5 is just simply when price action is exhausted. If there is no higher time frame, underlying motion and narrative that is going on, once we engage with that -4, -4.5, it should be a time for us to roll over. But we have that London deliverance up towards buy side, Kraken correlation establishes itself, and then we have a second stage Kraken correlation. So after we have that first Kraken correlation with the previous day high, we retrace back into the range, meander around for a little bit, deliver up towards buy side, Kraken correlation with this high again, and then it is followed with an M15 change in stain delivery. Now, for one, we should take acknowledgement as to where all of this price action is occurring. This price action is occurring inside of the hour 4 SIBI, above the daily order block, as well as the fact that it is occurring where we can potentially deem a point of terminus, which then turns into inception. So if the signatures present themselves and there is clear drawn liquidity, as well as the fact that time is right, then it's more than sufficient enough for us to say this may serve as a point of inception, in which we end up seeing it doing so. So we have that Kraken correlation second stage, deliverance down, we have a change in stain delivery. Once again, we can also take a notice of the fact that this 6 a.m. candle being our hour 4 candle, it's the candle where our change in state is. We're framing our hour 4 power of 3. We're looking to see a 15-minute PD array be utilized. We're looking to see clear 15-minute structure in order to frame that open low high close or open high low close, in this case, for that power of 3. So we have that change in state delivery and simply just executed the moment we delivered back into that change in state, stop loss being at these highs right here, and then was looking for that sell side deliverance down. So originally my take profit would have been at this low, simply because this standard deviation projects for all of this price action. So that -4, -4.5 projecting for all of that TLP. Standard deviation is anchored from this candle's high all the way down to this candle's low being right here. And then I did look to move my take profit being down to this low. I don't have it marked out because I ultimately did actually just close the trade once we engaged with this low right here, because GBP USD as well as DXY were lagging behind EURUSD. So they didn't engage with the London low as well as the Asia low when EURUSD had done so. But in relation to why I moved the take profit to down here was because with this leg right here, all of this that's occurring here after my entry is simply just a distortion of price. Price is waiting for the time to move, being 8:30. We can see that 8:30 opens, and before our 8:30 opening, we end up forming an order block right here. So we have this deliverance up engaging with this rejection block that resides right here, and a Kraken correlation also establishes itself in this segment of price action. So this candle's high, and then this candle's high, Kraken correlation with the correlated assets, EURUSD engaged with that pool of liquidity, the other assets fail to follow suit, and then we have that order block formation right here. And just ahead of our 8:30 opening, we close, ensuring that this is the formation of an order block. We can see the way that the 8:30 candle opens. We open inside of this order block, and then we invite that heavy sell side deliverance. But away from the tangent, going back as to why take profit was moved down here was ultimately because from this candle's high all the way down to this candle's low being right there, anchored a standard deviation, and it was projecting for this low, as well as the fact that I was under the impression that the previous week low was ultimately the draw on liquidity. So yeah, that is pretty much it when it comes to the EURUSD trade for Friday's trading. I guess the only difference with this trade is that I'm executing on the M15 compared to executing on the lower time frames, but to be quite honest, the requirements and the criteria is always going to be the same, no matter the time frame as well as no matter the asset. The other thing would be holding through high impact news, being NFP. I'm more than comfortable holding through high impact news simply because I'm under the preconceived notion that these markets run under an algorithm. And if there is an underlying motion that needs to be unraveled out in relation to the higher time frames, these high impact news events are going to distribute towards that higher time frame motion that needs to be unraveled out. So when we look at the lower time frames, we're going to see a lot of stuff that align in order for us to say, okay, it makes sense in order for high impact news to deliver down towards sell side. But yeah, that is it for the trade analysis.